What is the difference between asking the question, what is this, to experience the substance, and analyzing it? Because I find myself asking the question, it's dark, it's light, it's heavy, and then I find that that brings me back to my mind rather than focusing on the breath.
So you ask the question, you don't try to answer.
But then when you ask the question, you do say, well, what does it feel like? Don't you, as you described
No.
it?
What is this? You don't try to pin it down, you try to penetrate. So the analogy is sometimes used like a hot knife through butter. So any answer you give, heavy, light, dark, light in the sense of light, you know, rich, poor, any answer you give like that is, like you say, analysis.
But isn't that analysis? It's not letting it be, but
just
you're
cut
thinking.
through. Use the question to cut through. So if an answer appears, it's automatically false. Okay? It's like looking at a painting that you really love in a museum. If you start analyzing it, oh, this is where red is, oh, this is where yellow is, then you're not seeing the painting. You just look really hard. And the question helps us direct our looking, but we don't have an answer. If you have an answer, then it's already false. Any kind of answer is already false. Okay? So just cut through. We just cut through. Like that.
So there's being, feeling, thinking, and doing, all these things are all something that we do it every moment of our lives, but how do we transform ourselves from just checking mind to just the being?
Practice.
How do we practice?
Practice. Practice. Okay? But also, don't make doing, thinking, feeling, being. How can you separate those?
Well, we can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, you know, but I think we have tendencies to do that, as Emmanuel is saying. There's much too much of checking going on, and you know, we worry about the orders in which we do things, or whatever. It's just do.
So we have these tools at our disposal. Language is one tool. And we use language. I'm using language right now. Language is always false. Anything you say is false. It's just how it's structured. Because language has noun and verb. How can you separate it? How can you do that? How can you separate me from you? How can you separate the floor from the ceiling? You can't, but language does that. So there's this wonderful poem in the Kwan. It's my favorite thing in the Kwan, and it's, I put it on my desk, I wrote it out and put it on my desk in a frame, and I'm a poet, and this is my poetics, okay, if you know what poetics is, this is like my theory of poetry, and it's the following. Words cannot show truth. Speech cannot point into nature. One who holds words is dead. One who attaches to sentences is lost. So we have this tool called language, and we use it. Also, we have to understand that our minds do not perceive the universe as it is. We're human beings, and our brains have certain kind of patterns, and they fit things into those patterns. And so whatever we see fits into those patterns. Much in the same way that we have to decide with a noun, well, okay, not so much in English, but in other languages, you have to decide every noun, is it male or female? Which is bizarre, since there are at least 6 or 7 genders. But, you know, we have to, in those languages, you have to decide that. We have to decide subject, object. We have to decide all these things. But these things are not real. They're just the structure of language. Well, our brain also is like that. But we can't see these structures because that's how we think. That's how we function, so we can't see it. You know, Dogen talked about an eyeball seeing itself. An eyeball cannot see itself. You can see its reflection in the mirror. You know, I can see Kwan in his eyeballs very well. He can see mine through my glasses very well, you know. But my eyeball cannot see itself. So it's like that. So our mind can't really see itself. We can't really see the structures of our mind. But there's a very good analogy. There's a very famous paper back in the, I guess, 1950s or 60s, maybe 40s. It was a long time ago. And it's called something like What the Frog's Eye Tells the Frog's Brain. I don't quite remember the title. You can, if you search for it, you can actually find the original paper online. You know, it's up there, and as a PDF. And what happened was these guys wired up a frog's brain to try to figure out what it saw. Like, when did its brain register, I saw something? And what they discovered is if you put a dead fly in front of it, it didn't see the fly. If you had a live fly, a fly moving, it could see the fly. So a frog's brain can see movement. But if you're sitting very still, it will not see you. So it's a very interesting, think of what the world is like. As soon as something stops moving, it's not there. So if a frog hopped into the Dharma room, nobody would be there. Unless you slowly, slightly shifted your posture or adjusted, straightened your back, then you're there. But then suddenly you're not there. I mean, what an interesting world a frog lives in. Our world is like that, but we can't see its limitations. Okay? So we have to use our body, use our mind, use our language, use our thinking, use everything we know how to do to help this world. But we have to understand that truth is before speech, before thinking, more fundamental than any of those things. And that's when we practice, and we have an opportunity to see that. And it seems like, you know, your mind is jumping all over the place, and, you know, you're thinking of, you know, going to New York or coming back from New York or whatever, you know. I mean, our minds are just going everywhere. You're thinking about what's going to be for lunch, and, you know, all kinds of stuff is happening in our mind. But believe it or not, just sitting there quietly with a very simple practice, all Zen practices, you ever notice they're very simple? You know, we're not trying to imagine some huge mandala, we're just trying to count our breaths, or what am I don't know, or something like that. Really stupid, simple practices. You just bring your mind back, you bring your mind back, you bring your mind back. And you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and you keep doing that. There's no such thing as bad meditation, as meditating badly. You fall asleep, that's wonderful. You have an opportunity to see your brain disengage, and then your brain engage again. Because nobody stays asleep on their cushion, because if they did, they'd fall down. So yeah, so falling asleep, no problem. Anything that happens on the cushion, no problem. You just see you're functioning. You just see what it is. And as you do that, as you do that, as you do that, you know, it's not human beings that pull you by the nose. It's this. It's your thinking that pulls you around. And gradually, your thinking stops pulling you around. Your thinking stops pulling you around. And then you have an opportunity to cut through your thinking and wake up. And really see this world as it is. And when you see this world as it is, then you can help it. You're not helping your idea of it, which will only cause more problems. But you're seeing what it truly is. There's no language for that, but you just see it, and then you act appropriately, like that woman grabbing her grandchild, throwing him to safety, like that. Although, probably not so dramatic. Okay? Thank you.